And guys and gals, thank you for staying with me so far. I hope you found this interesting. I know I have. Um, this one is calling Making the Sausage, is fixing the problems that I've found so far. I'm going to show you what I found, explain them. Alright, so I've made myself a task list over here. As you can see, I've got like some fix me's, notes, to-dos, and XXX. What is that? Well, that refers to hacks. It's not really necessary to fix those. It's just that there's a better way to do it. In this case, these are all things that would be better if they were more reusable. So in a separate file, they need to be moved. But again, well, I shouldn't say need. It need to be moved. And this note is just a reminder to update something. And those are just kind of distractions. So I'd like you to, the reason I'm pointing out, one reason is that this task list in itself is an awesome feature found in the Eclipse IDE. You put in comments, and you just put in special keywords like fix me, all caps, and it will automatically add that to your task list once you've saved the file. And the task list is so configurable. Like, I don't want to see those XXX ones right now. I don't want to show things that are just notes, because what I want to see are the really high and medium priority things. Fix me's and the to-dos. Not even all my to-dos are even medium. They're maybes. I'm going to call them off for the future. So I suppose we could just start with the worst ones. Some of the worst ones. When the way this normally works is like you can double click the task, and it'll take you right to the place in the file. So where am I? I am in get to it. This has been a problematic function. It seemed like it would be so simple, but I have this if else, and then else kind of statement going on. And in this case is if I have let if the robot has gone beyond a limit. If the robot has gone beyond a limit that I have decided. I find that if there's some natural limits, of course, like if fuel is a consideration, or if you're running into bedrock or something, then the robot cannot just continue without making some kind of choice. Those are natural, but I need to sometimes there's no natural limit. I need to impose an artificial limit. So just to prevent the robot, like if anything should happen, I don't want the robot to get lost, or at least not too lost. So that's why I impose a limit. But here, this has gone too far, and this keep going flag is for the loop. But there's another flag that I need to be interested in for this case, and that is the is able. Because if I look at how I documented this function, this is supposed to, move to a place right above the lava or obsidian, and those are those parameters. But the important thing is the return. It's supposed to return false if it wasn't able to get to the start due to fuel constraints or whatever. It's able. So if if isAble is false, then it needs to return that. So in this situation for FixMe, I had neglected to assign false to this isAble flag. So that's what I'm going to do to fix this. Is able. Assign that to false. Or assign false to that. And then I can clear that FixMe. And also there's a debug point. I'm going to take that off. Alright. Next. Problem in main. Oh, this one's horrible. I found this problem while inspecting it here in the IDE. And this had to do with the problem that we saw before. It stopped, it got obstructed, but then it kept going, and that caused it to error out, if you remember in that the video where I was actually running it in place. And I was like, why should that be? Because I had defined keep going up here, and here's another cool feature of the IDE. You put your cursor in the variable, especially if it's the variable where if it's the place where the variable is defined, and then it gets highlighted. The references to that variable get highlighted later on. But look, only these two references are highlighted, the initial one and the place where it's used as a loop flag right here. There are other places you can see keep going, but they're not highlighted. Now, if I put my cursor in this one, there it's highlighted there, there, but it's not highlighted there. It's almost like it's two separate variables. They're spelled exactly the same. What do we mean they're two separate variables? Well, you may have noticed already if you're a programmer, but I inadvertently, I don't know why, redefined this variable right here. See how it's like local? So to make sure that it's a local variable, I defined it up here, but then I used the word local, meaning I was redefining it. And so this one and this one became like two separate variables, and this one never got assigned after this one. As long as this was true, this was always going to be true at this position. So this would just like keep going. Now in our case it actually errored out and so stopped this loop. But if it hadn't been the case excuse me, if it hadn't errored out, it just I think it would have been an infinite loop pretty much. So because this one had nothing to do with that. So in order to fix this one, all I have to do, I'm going to get rid of that breakpoint now. Let's get rid of the use of this keyword local at that place. Now look how they're all highlighted. It's like the IDE recognizes now that this is all the same variable. That was a horrible mistake on my part. I felt bad about that for like, the next day at work, and I was just like really kicking myself so hard. I mean, this is what the key thing that like drove me back to like using the IDE instead of doing that in situ stuff. Oh, super embarrassing, and here I am showing it to you right on the internets. But you know what? In programming, you have to confront your own mistakes. You have to fix them, or it's going to cause huge problems. And to fix them, you have to know what they are. And sometimes that can be like a kick in the ego. But anyway, that's fixed. Going on. See, in a regular programming situation, hopefully nobody besides you ever see that you make that mistake. Actually, with regular programming, when I say regular programming, where you're actually using a regular programming language. This is Lua is a scripting language, means that it's just interpreted directly by a Lua interpreter without being compiled first. If you're in something like Java, here I've set something up just to demonstrate this. If you're in Java, then if you write a program, I want to show you what this thing is about scripting versus compiled programming. Say I'm in this function main, okay? Main goes from here to here, and I declare this local variable. Now, by the way, notice up here, this is not a local variable. This is a class instance, or an instance variable, or otherwise known as a field. And so you can use this assign and use this field from within your local ones, but it would be shadowing. You can create your local one, you see, but then if you try and again within your local, within your function, you actually try to redefine this, my point is it won't let you. It'll show you right away it will not compile this program. There will be nothing to run. It will never let you get as far as like running this program, because you can't have a duplicate local variable like that. So if I just change the variable to mine other, this instantly the IDE and the compiler instantly recognize that, well, you've corrected the mistake. It doesn't. It's giving you warnings now because if it's assigned it, but it's no longer actually used. But that's not what I'm trying to demonstrate. I'm trying to demonstrate that, like in a regular programming language like Java, or in in C#, or even like the old Visual Basic and stuff like that, you could not just redeclare a variable all within the same function. It won't let you get away with that, and that's in a way like these regular programming languages are much easier because it doesn't let you make these terrible mistakes. Alright, so back in Lua. Let's finish this off. Alright. Now, here's a problem where I'm creating a new square. A square is this 3 by 3 square, 3 by 3, 3 positions by 3 positions. So it's nine positions, but they're centered on this one position. And so I'm defining each of these squares by its central position, its location, its locus. So each time I create one of these squares, I use what I call a locus. Locus is my own idea. It's from within a thing I call the Dead Reckoner. This is not built into Lua or anything. This is at any rate, when I create it, I need the X, Y, and Z coordinates. There's my silly mistake. I did X, Y, Y. It should be X, Y, Z. That's that other fix me. So now that I found this during while I was debugging through Eclipse, while I was running it like this brain in a jar thing I was talking about before, that's where I found that problem. So at least I found it without it actually being in real life, without it actually being in situ. So no lost robot. No disaster for anybody. Just a little problem to be fixed. Trying to get rid of that. It's not letting me get rid of this debug point. There. Okay, next. Well, I had apparently done a copy-paste because this next one is exactly the same problem. X, Y, Y. What the heck? So, X, Y, Z is what it should be. This coordinate, I've created its own separate coordinate position. I'll save that for a whole different video. Probably not part of this series about the Dead Reckoner. Right. Okay. So I've got those fix me's, but still, I have other to-dos to worry about. This next one is something I'm just showing real quick for now, but we're gonna ignore it for now, because I've created this new function in order to resolve: is lava mineable? Because everywhere in the code, when I'm trying to decide whether I've found mineable lava, I'm just saying, oh, have I found Minecraft lava? And if so, is it level at 0? That means that I can mine it. Well, I know now that that's not going to work, but I could only know that because of in-system, like in situ testing. And I'll demonstrate that later, and that's why I'm going to ignore it for now, because it's something that could not be detected with this brain in the jar. It'd have to be detected only in real life. So I'll reserve that for after next few iterations of testing. Okay, so next, all right. This is just I put this comment here, this to-do, to indicate that I've fixed it, but in the past, in that previous video, when we saw that robot stop when it reached that obstruction, well, we couldn't see it that time, but what it was actually doing, it was stopping at that obstruction, then it was continuing to attempt to keep going, and so it was like kind of like banging its head against that stone wall, but we couldn't see that it was doing that. But it was just like it was stuck there, but continuing to try, and it should have like stopped trying immediately as soon as it ran into that thing. And so what I had to do was, remember, as I said, this keep going thing is a loop flag. I had to assign it. Was this is code that I've added since then. Okay. This keep going. Okay. To change keep going, like if this is false, like because this returns false if it cannot really move. Oh, here's my own description for my deadreckoner.move. See if it's successful. Disable or why not? If alright. And alright, now, oh, you know what? I forgot to do. There's something I forgot to do. I gotta go back. I gotta go look for that locust.new. Yeah, I've already done this. That's why this find is the way I actually want it already. This is one that I've either fixed This one's okay. This one's okay. X, Y, and Z. I gotta find. Here, see, there's another case of this problem. X, Y, Y. No. X, Y, Z. Again, I must have copy-pasted. And it looks like suddenly the whole screen has changed around. Because the end of this video was damaged. But as I was saying at that time, like, I had forgotten that I had forgotten to, and then remembered to search for, I knew there was going to be yet another place, and I found that yet other place where I had mistakenly done that X, Y, Y thing, you know, that copy-paste error. But there was one more after that, and that had to do with during the get to it function, toward the end of it. Oh, what you're suddenly seeing here is those changes that I was describing as I was doing, well, they're already done now. So I'm having to do a little bit of like time travel, and I'm using this source code manager Git in order to go back and describe the changes that I made while I was trying to make that video. Well, toward the end of this function, this is the before and this is the after. So like before and after panes are kind of like switched around. It's the opposite of what one should expect, right? But that's I'm just gonna accept that and move along. The way it was before, I had this little piece of code that said, like, well, if it was not able to do its thing, if it was not able, then it was just gonna have to print was unable to get to it, and describe the why it wasn't able to get to it. But then I realized when running it here in the IDE with that mocking scenario, that if I needed to say if it was able, then I needed to like insert this this square, this new locus, this into the square stack. So before I was doing it regardless, and so after I changed this if into an if else. See, this was if not, but instead it's like under the else. So if it is able, then add it to the square stack, otherwise print this message, and then of course there's returning that is able. Because if it's not able and it goes ahead and inserts the square anyway, then that's like a bad location that's added to the square stack. So that would be bad behavior. But and that was the last of that errors in that round of testing. But so thank you once again for bearing with me, and I hope that explains something for you. Okay, until next time, I hope you do some coding and have some fun.